What's really good, my people? Welcome in to No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick on the line. As always, it's Tuesday. We talking NBA conference finals. They've been blowouts. Look, everybody likes when they roll out the scripted close games, but they can't write in a couple of blowouts here and there too. The NBA is rigged. What's up? Y'all don't like the blowouts too? Y'all don't like the balance? Y'all want every game to be a buzzer beater? So we'll talk about the Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals. There has been a lot of blowouts, man. A majority of the games in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals have been routes, like from the start. Not good games early, and then they get blown out late. They've been blowouts from the actual tip of the game.
17-1 at one point at the beginning of the game last night. Like it was a turnoff early.
Yeah, it was DOA, dead on arrival. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to Miami for Game 5 tomorrow. I'm really fired up about that. I shout out our guy Jared. He works for the Miami Heat. He's going to hook me up, so I'm going to shoot down for the game and then come right back, spend a couple of days in Miami, which I'm looking forward to. So we'll talk about that. Game 5 is going to be 2-2, and then we got to talk about Andrew Wiggins, man. Guy apparently feels like playing ball now. Is it more of a culture thing? What's gotten into Andrew Wiggins? For the Golden State Warriors here in the Western Conference Finals. Stay locked with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's go.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick. What's happening? Look, man, everybody wants every game to be close.
Apparently,
is that?
Oh, I think that's what
that's what it has to be right now.
I think after some of these games, the first 2 rounds, you were kind of expecting that show to go on, right? And that's not what the conference finals have been giving you.
Yeah, man. Everybody want every game to be a 5-point, 2-point, 3-point game, huh?
I will say this: at least one of the series looks like it has the potential to go 7. The other one is over. So you know what I mean? Like at least it's not like we're looking at 2-3-0 series and it's just like, man, I'm not even gonna watch Game 4 type shit. Yeah. At least for whatever reason you can find a reason to watch Celtics Heat. But Mavs Warriors has been brutal.
Yeah, no doubt. Before we get into that, though, I just told Quick before we hopped on, I'm rewatching The Wire.
I didn't even know you'd ever watched to begin with.
I watched it. After you guys gave me so much grief. This is like 5 years ago now. I watched it, and I thought it was good.
You wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. I think now I'm older, and I've been sitting down and like been really locked in on it and the different dynamics of it, and it's really, really good. So I'm on season 2. I'm on the rewatch.
Sean was so resistant to watching the show. First of all, this man hops on this morning. I'm rewatching The Wire. I had no idea he'd watched it in the first place. He'd been telling him. So, like, for anybody, Wire is my favorite show. I've probably done at least 6 rewatches of The Wire. No cap.
Who's your favorite character?
Bodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Bodie's the best character. One of the best characters in the history of television. So. Yeah, man. At least, like for instance, like I've probably watched season 3 10 times. Like I could tell you season 3 start to finish, like the whole thing. But like, yeah, if you haven't watched it, climb out that rock you've been under and watch it. It's really dope. I think the first time you watch it, like a lot of shows, right? Like the first time you watch it, you want to know what happens. So you're not really looking for a lot of I wouldn't even call them hidden messages, but like the overall theme that they're trying to get across outside of like the action on the screen. You're not really on that because you just want to see what happens. Same thing with Game of Thrones. I recently did a Sopranos rewatch. You're kind of watching it in a different light when you already know what happens. And The Wire is one of those shows, definitely when you already know what happens, you start picking up on a lot of the shit. And ultimately, it's just a show about, mid-sized to large city in America and all the different things that go on. So, yeah, people need to check it out for sure. Wonderfully written, great acting. I'm telling this to everybody that's listened to our podcast hasn't seen it already. I'm sure you have. So that's sick.
What did my man Bodie say? He said, I just watched season 1.
Yeah.
What did he say when he's like, yo, what's up with you? He said, what's up with you? He said, what's up with the young boy? He said he's soft, man. He said blood pump Kool-Aid.
Yeah, blood pump Kool-Aid. He said, how about you?
Yeah, how about you?
And then
good.
Bodie patted his hip. Yeah.
He said, I got that on me. He said,
yeah,
don't worry
sure.
about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Shout out. And also another dope thing about that show is a lot of the actors that were in that show, it was like their introduction. And you're talking about some of the biggest, like particular Idris Elba and Michael B. Jordan are probably two of the biggest actors in the world, right? For sure, Michael B. Jordan, without a doubt, is one of the biggest actors in the world. And Idris Elba's not too far behind him. And if you look at it, they started on that show. So it's pretty
Stringer
dope.
Bell. Shout out Stringer.
Yeah, great Baltimore accent from a British guy. I didn't know he was British the first couple times I watched the show. I didn't know that McNulty was British either. Or McNulty's Irish. So.
Yeah, it's a good show. If you haven't seen The Wire, take your time.
Super young Michael B. Jordan.
And it's one of those shows as well where once you lock in on it, you're going to be locked in for a while.
For sure.
So I would make sure you can, binge a little bit in spots here and there. But
I love doing rewatches of a show. I'm doing a Breaking Bad rewatch.
It's so funny how you receive it differently in different spots in your life. It's so wild.
Yeah. And it's so crazy when you already know what's happened. I'm telling you, you're picking up on like Sopranos. Oh my God, go rewatch Sopranos because again, you're not watching to figure out who's gonna die. Like you already know, so it's like you start picking up on a lot of like the little nuances of the show. And really with like any show you rewatch, you can do that. So I highly recommend it. Game of Thrones. That's like a tough rewatch to do, but it's another great rewatch. But that's a great show to rewatch because there's so much shit happening, and there's no way you can keep up with it the first time you watch it. But
yeah, no question, man. So, but yeah, all right, back to the conference finals because, yeah, man, there's been a lot of blowouts. I understand. I don't know if I've seen a sequence of blowouts quite like this. It's just the games from the tip are dead. Mm-hmm. And especially like in this Boston-Miami series, it's the team that needs to get a W. Like it's almost like the other team is just like taking the night off.
Yep. It's like Miami, you're up 1-0, we need to win. You're up 2-1, we need to win.
Oh, it's 2-1? Okay, we'll let you guys you guys even up to 2-2. Like the Miami took the night off. Like I don't know how else to explain it. They flat out just took the night off. We're like, we came to Boston, got a W. Now let's just go ahead and get back to Miami and maybe we could put it together. And the night before that, it was like Boston and Jason Tatum took a night off.
Yeah.
He just wasn't active, wasn't ready. Yeah. It's like weird stuff going on. But
and obviously there's been some injuries, but yeah, Tyler Hero doesn't make it a 20-point game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. It's not like a lot of times with these blowouts, it's like, okay, we get to halfway through the third quarter and teams start to separate. Like last night, it was, 17-1 at one point. I don't think the Heat made a shot until 8 minutes into the game. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like over. And it's like, we love hoops, but it's hard to watch that, man. Like it's hard. And it's almost like that Phoenix. Remember the Phoenix game 7? And like you could tell, it's just like, yo, this is over. This is nothing good. There's nothing they can do to flip this result around. You know what I mean? And like, I hate watching a game knowing that, because you're always kind of hoping for that comeback. Again, you watch certain games and it's like, yo, a comeback is not outside of the realm of possibility, right? A couple things go this way. We hit a couple shots. We're right back into this game. Games like last night, games like the Phoenix game 7, you watch and you're just like, man, this is over. Like they're not doing anything. And they have no one that seems to be interested in getting them back in the game. And with Miami, if they're not hitting threes and stuff like that, if they're not hitting their shots, they're not going to all of a sudden turn it up and try to score 140 on you. Like, this is their offense. So it was just
they zapped him.
Yeah.
Early, and then it was dead, and they couldn't. They were like, we're not interested. And it was a classic spot as well where a lot of the role players for Miami just didn't have it on the road. Strus didn't have it. And, it was just dead early, DOA. And one of the things, let me ask you this, one of the things that I was reading, and I actually listened to the pod where Haralabus Vulgaris, a guy you don't really appreciate that much.
I appreciate him. I don't care.
You don't love him. It's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
you
kinda
don't gotta love
arrogant.
everybody.
I don't like smartest guys in the room. That's fine.
Yeah, and he's very much that, and reminds you every single opportunity.
He just lacks self-awareness, in my opinion. Like he's one of those dudes. It's just like, we get it. You're way smarter than me. You'll make way more money than I'll ever make in my life. I understand. But like, even that last pod I listened to, he kept talking about how much money he's got. I'm like, bro, this shit is kind of corny. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So he made a point of, I think there needs to be more rest in between these conference finals games. There's only been a day rest, and there's only a day rest coming up here. They play every other day.
We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. They play every other day. You think they could use some more rest in between? His point basically was like, these guys look gassed. They need more rest here in between these big time games, especially when you're flying, from Boston back to Miami and vice versa.
To me, the playoffs used to seem like they dragged on, and I do not feel like that this year. So from like a consumer perspective, like, it's great because I feel like when we talked about this, like every other night.
It might not be though. Yeah,
but then you're getting games like this, and I do think that the way that they've done, and I don't know if this is new. I can never recall the playoffs going by this fast. I mean, you're talking about the travel days have been eliminated. You could be in Miami on Tuesday and playing in Boston on Thursday, right? So
that's what they've been doing. Yeah, I mean, there's literally been there's never been a year that I can remember where there was a conference finals game on every single night.
Right,
and that's what it's been.
Well, even a team like Miami, who wrapped up their last series in 5, whereas Boston went 7, it didn't seem like Miami got that long break that you would normally get when you wrap up a series and you're waiting for another one that went 7, right? Like, don't you remember a few years ago, it seems like when the Heat would go through on their series and take them up 4 and someone else is going to a 7-game one, they're off for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? LeBron's going to vineyards and shit like that. Now it just seems like there's just a few days. It's just like, get these series over. We need to get to the next one. We want no breaks. We want to capitalize on all this momentum. We can't have. There's been one day, I think, in this whole playoff cycle that there wasn't a game. It was a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday.
Yeah, there was a couple nights, but
maybe one or two.
Not
nights,
very many.
Not very many. And yeah, I think the quality of the basketball is suffering. I think in general, the NBA needs to look at the schedule, man. How many non-contact injuries? You really look at the end of the year in the league. These non-contact injuries are starting to mount up. And I think all of it goes back to even that bubble year. When you look at it, like, if you look at the last 3 years for like a hooper that's on a good team, you have played a lot of basketball in a short amount of time, right? You had the bubble year. They had a month off after the bubble before they started the next season, which they had to rush through. They finally got like a regular off season this year, but like, you start adding all that up, it's a lot of wear and tear on these guys, right?
And a lot of guys played Olympics.
Yep,
yep. A lot of guys played Olympics and some extra curricular outside of the league stuff. So yeah, man,
guys are getting hurt doing basic shit. You're jumping, you're getting hurt. I mean, the Achilles, the ACLs, like, shit like Smart's injury the other day. I thought he was done. I was like, oh, that's ACL. He's done. It's another one. So I mean, I think the league has to look into it, man. Like, especially when you consider that in the 82-game season, I know this year is a little bit different because there was some close races, but come on, man. These last 10 games, you could cut those off. I could go to 72 games. I could go to 65 games, to be completely honest with you. Schedule space the schedule out right enough to where I'm still seeing basketball every night. I don't care. I don't need 10 games a night where I'm only watching 2 of them.
There's a lot of games, yeah.
There's a lot of games. You know what I mean? So like, you could kill Sacramento and Indiana on a Tuesday night. I don't need to see that.
I mean, we could just pull Orlando off the schedule completely. We could pull it.
Hey, you could relegate them. You can send them down to the G League.
We could just delete a few whole franchises if y'all need to free up some scheduling time.
Send the Magic down to the G League. Bring up the G League at night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, the season's too long, man. There's no reason, especially again, these guys are getting hurt left and right, and like, you got to kind of weigh that balance of, we want to make the money from those extra 10 to 15 games, but if we're losing Jason Tatum, if we're losing Kevin Durant, you know what I mean? Like,
it's
we don't have
so
our
hard to correlate one another, but yeah, I get you.
They won't do it. Yeah,
but like, if you're watching the games, I think these guys are a little tired, bro.
They're tired as shit.
Like, they've been playing a lot of basketball. They've been playing every other day, and especially Dallas just went 7, and now they're playing every other day, and they're getting run ragged by the Warriors. Like, that's what it seems to. That's what seems to be the case. And
I don't know if that's a fatigue element, but yeah, sure.
But I mean, that has to be part of it. I think,
there's no doubt that
some of those guys are tired and legs are gone.
Yeah, and
But
guys don't want to be there that night. Like you can see it, certain guys just don't want to be there that night.
yeah, and it's
James didn't want to be there at all in the playoffs. He was checked out.
And the only game that's been I was surprised at what Miami did over the weekend in Boston. That was interesting. But I was going to say most of these games have been the home team is taking care of business, and the away team is kind of disinterested, tired, and not looking super locked in.
From a gambling perspective, you can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know.
It's tough, man. It's back and forth.
There is no trend to follow. There's no home court away. There's none of that, man. You might be at home, get blown out by 20. You might be on the road and win by 20. So it's just it's a flyaway.
Yeah, especially with like not, and then there's guys in and out, and
Man,
Heroes out,
last night.
Smart's out. Is he going to play? People
Time
getting
Lord.
announced out late. Yeah, exactly. So, Time Lord's very good, by the way. Like,
is something like this good for Vegas though? Are they cleaning up on, or do you think they're going through the same roller coaster as the public?
I mean, I would say it's very tough to set numbers because it's like I don't know who's going to play. I'm trying to get as much information as I possibly can. Excuse me. I'm trying to get as much information as I possibly can, and people are getting scratched, and then teams aren't showing up in the first half. Like, for example, when Boston got out to a 17-1 lead yesterday, like there's only been 5 minutes, 6 minutes of game time played, right? Like what am I supposed to make the live line?
Yeah.
Like right there.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
there's literally 42 minutes left of the game. It's 17-1, but it looks like the game is dead, right?
Yeah, right?
So it's like you don't want to put out a number like Boston, and the line opened at Boston or closed at Boston -6.5, 7 in some spots.
Yeah.
So what do you do with the live line? Do you just automatically make it 15? Or is that too big of a number? Because then you don't want to get caught in the middle where people that had Boston -6, 6.5 are now taking Miami +22.
Yeah.
And it's like a really precarious spot. You know what I mean? So I can imagine it being extremely tough.
Oh yeah, because you're creating a bunch of middles for people that
you're creating
already
huge
have
middles for people that already have.
It's like, I got -6.5 and +22. Oh yeah, I'm
exactly.
good.
You know what I'm saying? So like
I'm
it can get very precarious for a bookmaker, especially. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason that Vegas and these guys can do what they do is because it's a long game for them.
Yeah, for sure.
They just got deeper pockets than you, and you are going to show up to the window every day, and they're just going to outlast you. Like that's how they make money, right?
War of attrition.
Yeah, so I couldn't imagine it for like an individual bookmaker or a guy that is trying to run some shit where he's getting just like all types of stuff's coming in on his sheet.
He would almost
super leveraged out.
I wouldn't even touch the live line. I'm not posting it.
Right. Then, but like that,
it's a lose-lose. There's no way. There's nothing that's gonna tip it in your advantage. So why even?
Exactly. It's a really tough situation for those type of guys.
Point.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I'm still excited for you know who let us down. And before we talk about Dallas and the Warriors, I go to Miami tomorrow morning. I'm trying to figure out my itinerary here. Have you ever been to that stadium?
No, I've never really been to Miami. I've been to South Florida a bunch. I've never been to
you never been to South Beach and then across the water to Miami?
So my girl's family has a place like an hour north of Miami. So we were talking about next time we go. I think that my girl and I are gonna go grab
what
a
is
hotel.
It like Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood?
They're like Deerfield Beach. So it's like an hour north.
Okay.
But we were gonna go down to Miami, grab a hotel, do the whole South Beach thing for a night or two. So
yeah, it's fun. It's
Yeah,
expensive. It's very sceney.
No, it's expensive and sceney. And we've talked about this before, right? Like it's almost like not like to the level of like going to Monaco, but there are like certain things where it's just like, yo, look, man, I don't. I'm either trying to keep up with the Joneses or spend a bunch of bread I don't have / don't need to spend right now. Whereas I could like go somewhere and be a little bit more like in my element, like because you know how it is, man. You're in South Beach kicking it. You're trying to catch the vibe, but you ain't got the pockets as deep as my man's over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, thanks. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna get a hotel or stay with my guy. You know how it is. As you get older, I don't want to be taking it. I don't want to be in people's spaces, and I got shit to do and stuff like that. So I'm trying to
Hotel's
figure out
also
if I'm
gonna
going to
hit you,
save the
bro.
money versus get a hotel for a couple nights. But
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. I'm going to go down in the morning. I'm going to get some breakfast. I'm going to go
You
down,
need to
try
get
to
a Cu-
find me
you
a
need to
little
get a
Cuban
Cuban
sandwich
coffee.
for lunch.
Yeah, you get a
Yep.
Cuban coffee, a
And
little
I'm just going
cafecito,
to go post up at the beach, not
smoke a
even at the
cigar.
beach because I have work to do. So I'll probably try to find a pool with some internet, and then I'll post up, do my work, knock my shit out, have a couple beverages come 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then I got to get an all white outfit. Apparently, my man. So the guy that
the
the guy that's hooking us up with the seats is a homie I grew up with, went to high school. Shout out Jared B. He always listens to the pod as well. So shout out JB. But yeah, I got to get a little white fit. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna enjoy myself, and then I'm gonna come back first thing Friday morning and kick it. And my flight wasn't too bad because it's a Wednesday and a Friday, but.
You could always find a flight to Florida from Chicago to Florida is usually pretty decent. That's the nice thing about O'Hare is you can always find some sort of flight. A lot of folks catching
Well,
these
what's
connections are
love
paying
too
crazy.
is that Miami won over the weekend. So either way, I was good to have. I should be set to have a good game. It was either going to be 2-2 or it was going to be 3-1 Miami, and then they had a chance to close it out. So this game 5, I'm predicting this game 5 to be very tight. I also think I'll be honest with you. I think Boston closes out 2-2, 1 in 6. They're going to win the next 2 games.
Okay.
They're going to win the next 2 games. They're going to win in Miami tomorrow, and then they're going to close it at home on Friday in Boston. I think it's very apparent to me, and I know they've been blowouts, so you can kind of throw them away, but Miami just doesn't have enough offensively, especially when these dudes are locked in on D. Like Saturday, they weren't locked in, and they were able to, and Miami was able to kind of,
do what they
do and lean on them, and they were ahead tape to tape, right? And they lost their guy, so I think that's dead though. I think Boston is just a better squad. Boston plays a lot better defense, and they just have a lot more scores. And I think, especially if Marcus Smart can come back, he seems to be just that mental piece. But yeah, I think Boston closes it out in 6. I'm going to try to look for a bet that I could place that won't ruin my enjoyment of the game, where I could root for Miami, but not really mess around with, because at this point I want to see Boston, Golden State.
You don't want to see any part of Miami, Golden State.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I think those are the 2 best teams left, Boston and the Warriors. So I think that'll be a better series. So that's what I want to see. And I want the Warriors to win.
I think the Warriors are going to win the championship this year. I've been reluctant to say it all year, but I don't see at this
after
point.
Phoenix went down, huh? Phoenix let us down, bro.
Phoenix really did let us down. And the Warriors, and I think I got to admit, I admitted to myself this morning, and I don't hate the Warriors by any stretch of the imagination, right? I love all those guys. They're great. It's been fun, but I just didn't want them to win.
The Warriors.
I think, and I think that kind of crept into how we talk about them on the show, where I'm like, no, man, no. And it's just like you watch, and they just keep getting better and better and better. They're making short work of Dallas, who ultimately, Dallas beat Phoenix, but Dallas was not one of the best teams of the Western Conference this year.
You know who Dallas is this year? That Dame Portland squad that got to the Western Conference. The same exact team.
Yeah, just riding the back of a transcendent player.
Yes.
Who's hot at the right time, and But
and they finally got over the hump to get to the conference finals.
Yeah.
And then they literally have 0 shot to go to the finals.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah. I mean, it's over. It's funny. So did you hear, I guess we're moving on to Miami, Dallas, or Dallas and Golden State right now. Did you hear Luka and Jason Kidd's post-game press conferences the other day? I have never heard anything like this before.
Where they just kind of conceded?
Yeah. Did you Jason Kidd's like, we weren't supposed to be here anyways, right? Y'all didn't have us here, so it's going to be great for going forward. I'm like, bro, you're in the middle of a fucking series. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, y'all aren't going to come back. You're not going to come back. I just never seen a team they really 100% conceded. Like, yeah, there's no chance.
Packed it up, yeah.
The way he said it's just like, yeah, this has been a great year. Luka's like, yeah, it's been a great ride. He's ready to go back to Slovenia.
Yeah, he's ready to go kick it. Luka ready to go back to the crib and kick it.
He got a couple Svetlanas lined up, you know what I mean? a couple bad chicks with sharp accents. Yeah, but it was just like, man, when I heard them say that the other day, I was like, oh yeah, these boys. Jason Kidd already booked his flight to wherever he's going. Catch some Rays. So yeah, they're done. Hey, shout out Dallas though, man. They took out Phoenix. But I don't see any way. I don't see any way the Warriors don't close them out.
You think
tonight.
it's just a sweep up?
Yeah,
tuck them in.
I think it's over with. I think it's over with. When a team knows that they can't win, what are they going to do? They know they can't win.
Yeah.
What? They've had a long playoff run.
What? Because they're going to lose Brunson probably, right?
I think so. I think that's why. Yeah,
he's going to get a ton of cash from someone, and he's going to leave, and I think he wants to leave.
And they also got to look at their team and say, if we re-sign Jalen Brunson, we can't bring in the things that we actually need. They got Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie can kind of does that role.
They're gonna lose Brunson. What else do you think they would need? Because obviously he's getting guys insanely good looks at jump shots. Luka is. What could they add in your opinion that could have them back in the Western Conference Finals?
A big. They need some rim running bigs that can block shots. They need JaVale McGee. I love my mans, but JaVale McGee type player, probably a little bit younger, maybe a Capella-ish type guy.
Does Aiden interest you?
Aiden is the perfect player for them. 100%. Yeah, Aiden's the perfect player for them. Aiden is what they need. So if they can make a deal to do a sign and trade with Aiden, for sure. But if you're Phoenix, there's zero chance you're signing and trading Aiden to the Mavericks.
Isn't he on an expiring though?
Yeah, but he's restricted.
Oh, he's restricted. Okay.
So and Dallas is over the cap, so they would have to facilitate some sort of sign and trade to do that. And I just can't see Dallas or Phoenix being like, yeah, we'll sign and trade to the team that just knocked us out and all of a sudden give you the one thing you don't have and end our title run.
Also, don't forget about Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He can fill it up. He can shoot it when necessary. So yeah,
that's not what look, man. But then at some point you become redundant, right? This is the great thing you brought up the Blazers. At some point you keep adding what you already have while ignoring what you really need, right? And the Blazers did this for years.
They can just move some of that shooting.
We need a rim protector, so we add who is my man's that's out the league damn near Enes Kanter. We need a rim protector, so we add Norman Powell. We need a rim protector, so we add Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, that Norman Powell deal made no sense from the start.
And we love Norman Powell, but it's like, why are you adding another scorer? Like, so if you're Dallas, look at this the right way. I think that when you got a player like Luka, right, who is going to account for like on any given game, like 60 to 70% of your offense, if we're really keeping it real, when you add in assists, points, the fact that he initiates
the
everything.
Usage is insane. Yeah.
You got to consider, do we need more offensive guys, right? We need another guy who can score, who can take the pressure off him, but we really need to make sure we have some defense around him, some capable bigs. You know what I mean? These guys who allow us not to get beat up by Golden State, who doesn't even have a ton of size, but get to the rim whenever they want. And we just need some type of presence. It can't be, who's my man, light-skinned buddy that plays center for them? Dwight Powell. You know what I mean? Like that can't be your center in the Western Conference Finals, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
let me ask you this. Because I was thinking about this the other day while I was drinking some coffee in the morning, and I was just like thinking about the Western Conference Finals and Luka, because I love Luka. I love his game. Do you remember that Kobe interview where he was talking about James Harden? And he was like, James Harden's never going to win a ring with his style of play. Do you remember that? You remember that interview? So yeah. Kobe, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Kobe came out and said, James Harden's never going to win a title playing the way he does. ISO, dribble, drive and kick, whatever, that style of play. What's the difference between that and what Luka does? Like would Kobe have that opinion on Luka at the moment? Like if someone were to ask Bean that, like what's the difference? And I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate because obviously I think that Luka can get a chip with how he plays if the right system and the right people are around him. But what's the difference there? What's the difference between him and James Harden?
Yeah, no, I feel like there is a difference.
They're different players, obviously, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like there is a difference, but when you describe it that way, it's kind of hard to articulate. I don't know, right? Because it's like I feel like the Harden shit was, even though Luka kind of does the same thing, Trey kind of does the same thing, the Harden thing was like it on steroids. But here's the other thing. They were winning 60 ball games a year. 55, 57, 58, 59, 60 ball games a year. So obviously it was effective, right?
And a big difference
once you
each
got to the playoffs, it kind of disappeared. Whereas with Luka, he's the second leading all-time scorer in NBA history.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say in the playoffs. Yeah,
that's the difference right there.
That's a big difference on how he gets down in the playoffs, and his mentality is completely different. But I found it interesting because I was just thinking about different players, different scenarios, what's next for some of these guys, and what do they need to get over the hump. And I thought about that Kobe interview, and I'm like, I wonder what he would say. Like if I could ask Bean, what does he think Luka needs? What would he say? And would it be similar to what he said about James? But just something to think about. Interesting piece. But
well, it's interesting that I bring up Capella, right? Because it's like Capella played with James, Capella played with Trey. Like clearly, Capella is the perfect type of big that you want in this situation. But I think you're right. Aiden is number one, right? Aiden would be young. You can grow with Luka. He's a rim running big. You can play some D. He can absolutely play those minutes for you. You just got to figure out a way to get it done. So maybe you could facilitate something. I don't know. Is it Aiden? And I don't know how the cap works, but could you do something with Aiden and Brunson? I don't know. Would either team be interested in that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'd have to go look and write it up and see. But
could you imagine Brunson taking those campaign minutes? You know what I mean? Taking those because campaign was brutal this year. Taking who else were they? Landry Shamet minutes. Like those would become Brunson minutes. So you could have that would be the ideal scenario because each team has what the other guy wants.
If Brunson, you said if Brunson could get to Phoenix?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean he's baby Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Essentially, I don't know about he doesn't facilitate it like Chris.
But he's a little different player. But yeah,
he's such an interesting player because he's a scorer. You know what's going to be really interesting, to be completely honest, is seeing him for a long stretch without Luka around. We saw them a couple games. He
was hurt,
where he was basically playing Luka.
Yeah.
he was controlling the ball, going to the cup, shooting jumpers, doing everything, right? It'll be interesting to see how much he could keep that up on maybe for a whole season face of the guy type of every night, knowing that you're going to be the guy here. It's a little different responsibility when that comes to play.
Either way, I'm so happy he's going to get paid, man. You and I both talked about it. We talked about it for 4 years.
We have, man.
There was really no. I don't understand. I'm not an NBA draft guy, so I'm not a scout. But I watched basketball, and I could have told you that there weren't. What was he drafted 38? There weren't 37 better players than him in that draft. Watch the film.
Well,
it was all right.
You know
and
what
he came
it
in the
is.
league, and he was instantly good. You know what I mean? And
he was fully, quote unquote, fully developed.
It was a problem.
He was a problem at Villanova, but that's about as good as he's gonna get, and they were wrong, and that was it. Period. Point blank.
Very, very wrong.
They should have went and talked to his dad. He would have told him.
Should have talked to Jay Wright. I keep sending y'all players that are good in the NBA, but you don't want them because they've stayed for Mikal Bridges, another guy. It's look, I got a philosophy: draft Villanova guys and draft guys at Kentucky that didn't get shine. Booker.
Well, we got Archie. We had Archie for a little second.
Yeah, Archie sucks.
Bulls had Archie.
He's out the league.
Bulls had Archie
how many guys from some of these? You know what's crazy? If you look at some of these guys from these Bulls teams we've watched over the last 5 years, how many of them are straight up out the league?
Yeah,
just
crazy.
Out, like Shaq Harrison, out the league.
Yo, guys that were getting minutes.
Big tick in the NBA. Big tick out the league.
Denzel Valentine
out the league.
Shaq Harrison.
Out the league.
Then all the guys that we let go somewhere else are cooking.
Are killing it.
So I think the player, that's a big conversation that we could have at some point here. But
out the league.
Our player development is not.
Denzel gonna get a job with his brother up at Loyola.
I forgot his brother is over there, huh?
Yeah. Shout out Drew Valentine.
Yeah,
looks exactly like Denzel.
Yeah, they both look identical.
Dude, Eder was calling the Denzel shit for years. Though he's like, "Yo, as soon as this dude's done with the Bulls, he's out. He's done. Mandarin, never play in the league again." And Denzel,
he was. he said he should go learn some Mandarin.
That's for 3 years. He needs to learn Mandarin.
He gonna be in the China Super League. Go learn the Mandarin ASAP. So
CKSA Moscow or some shit.
Yeah, man. So, we don't got too much, man, just because of the blowouts and the situation. I do want to talk about Andrew Wiggins. because
Cowardly
Nick
lion.
is a known Andrew Wiggins hater, certified. And he's not alone. And there's been a lot of reasons and valid reasons why people have thought this. He doesn't play hard. He doesn't make an impact. He's your classic. The reason, and if you guys have been listening to us for over the years, you know that I am a massive Dwight Howard hater, purely on the fact, well, I think he's a cornball. But secondly, there was no reason why he shouldn't have been the best center to ever play. Like, that's how much potential and athletic ability naturally he flat out naturally could win DPOI, and just every year never did anything to improve his offensive game. Never added a single move his entire prime. He did absolutely nothing to improve his offensive game when he could have been an absolute killer. So that's a big reason why I don't like Dwight Howard and don't rock with Dwight Howard. A big reason why Nick, and I'll speak for Nick and a lot of other people, and me included, was Wiggins had it all, or has it all, should be a force every single night, and he would flat out pick and choose, forget about possessions, pick and choose nights where he would show up and want to affect the game.
Look at his numbers against Cleveland and Minnesota, the two teams that traded him. Guy averaged like 30 a game against the Timberwolves.
You just go crazy on him.
Yeah. Which is like, yeah.
What do you think it is right now? Is it the culture? Is it being around the championship pedigree of Draymond and Steph and Clay and Kerr? Or is he just finally like, I'm going to make an impact, or what is it?
Let me backtrack you first on Dwight, right?
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of what you said about Dwight. I disagree with some of it, though. I think that we need to look at Orlando Dwight. And I get he never added any offense or anything like that, but he 100% took that team to the finals, right? Was a force defensively. I think to put him in the same category as Wiggins is kind of unfair to what Dwight was.
I wasn't putting him. I was just trying to the perception of why I don't like Dwight Howard is the same reason why me and a lot of other people don't like Andrews, because I'm looking at this dude like, this dude could score 20. He could be Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But he's
not.
He
had
Why
to do
not?
a lot more than Wiggins, I think, to get to 20. Wiggins, I think the knock on Wiggins is this guy could wake up out of bed and give you 20 because the skill was already there. It was more the will.
The same thing, the same way Dwight would roll out of bed and could get you 6 blocks and 20 boards.
And we can have this conversation another day, but Dwight will probably end up as a Hall of Famer when you look at his title resume, right?
Sure.
Wiggins, no chance. The problem with Wiggins is this, right? I think it's always been the issue with Wiggins is there seems to just be a lack of motivation, right? He doesn't seem like a motivated player. He doesn't seem like an assertive player. He's not an aggressive player. We talk about like that quote unquote killer instinct. And a lot of people say like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, no, it's 100% real, right? Like some guys just won't lose, right? Refuse to lose. Obviously they lose games, but like that mentality of I'm not going down like that, right? Or if I'm the number one guy, I'm going to act like it. With Wiggins, you look at some of those numbers in Minnesota, it's not like he hasn't had productive years. He had years in Minnesota, he was averaging 24 points a game. So clearly the talent's there, but it's just a lack of caring. Like Jimmy told you, right? When Jimmy was in Minnesota, he said, Cat's the most talented player on the team. Wiggins is one of the best players I've ever been around, but those guys don't go hard, right? And you look at a guy like Jimmy, I think Jimmy's a good, guy to compare it against where he doesn't have anywhere near the amount of skill. But if you put Jimmy Butler in Andrew Wiggins' body, I don't know what the fuck we'd have, right? You know what I'm saying?
No, you got like Kobe Bryant.
And you say a lot of guys like that, right? Like we talk about, like for Jimmy, it's hard to get to 25. It's a hard-earned 25. Like he's doing all types of shit because it's not as natural. Then you watch Wiggins on a day like the other night, and he's taking off from the free throw line and just yoking on people. You look at him in certain games, and it looks like this guy's awesome. But then we talk about it; it can be quarter to quarter. In the first quarter, he can look like Michael Jordan. And in the second quarter, he can look like fucking Michael Olowokandi. You know what I'm saying? Like it just varies from minute to minute, quarter to quarter, whatever his motivation is. So I think he's in a perfect spot for him because ultimately, if he plays well, it's a bonus. And if he doesn't, nobody really cares. Right? Because you have Steph.
So is it a pressure thing then? So is it like
a pressure thing? Some guys don't want the pressure. Some guys do not want the pressure, man. That's what it comes down to.
So he just has the free flowing, able to.
He's just not
play
built
ball.
like that, man. He's just not built like that.
That's what you think the change is, though, like,
100%.
and what's been going on the last.
That's mental. You hear some of the interviews with Steph has had, and they're like, "Yeah, we know he can do this, right?" Like the guys see it in practice, right? Like, look, you're in the locker room with this guy, and he's doing shit that's ridiculous that you can't do. You know, whether it's his vertical, some of the moves that he can make, what it looks like when he plays hard. Like guys know who has it and who doesn't, but they also know he's not going to bring it like that, and like so you can't really rely on him to be anything other than your third or fourth best player. And for them, he's like their fourth option. So he's in a complete no pressure spot on a really good team where the vibes are great.
They got him playing D now too, though.
He always could.
He playing
if you're
D
that
now
athletic
too.
with that type of exactly. It's easy. Go play defense, man. We don't need you to go score. The spotlight's not going to be on you. Go play some great D. Cool. Awesome, man. No pressure at all. If I get cooked, I get cooked. If I play well, people say it's great. And you can tell it when they interviewed him after the game the other day in TNT, and this guy is like dry as toast. Like it's just not there, man. Like it's just not there. Some dudes. And another thing is this, man. I think some guys, and like, you got to think about the person who was naturally born that way, right? Where you have always been. We all started playing sports young, right? And the guy who's just guy or girl who's just naturally way above everybody else can go one of two ways. You can skate on how good you are because you're just always going to be so much better until you get to that high level where he is now. Like he's just always been better, so he never really had to work hard. Or you could be a workaholic, right? So, I mean, like, and I think he took that other path. He's just always been better. And usually it's guys with size. You usually see some 7-foot guys like, how the fuck did you get to the NBA? Because I've just always been 7 feet tall and no one could do anything about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Look at guys in the NFL. How did he get here? Because I've always ran a 4.4 and ultimately no one can do anything about it until I run into other guys who are that way. And Wiggins got to the league. You run into other guys who are that way and you're not as good and you're not willing to put in that work to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that. It's really what it is. But I think that whole thing of just always being better than everybody, you have to want to work hard. Whereas you're not trying to get to everybody else's level. You're already above them in first grade, second grade, third grade. Your whole life, you've been that dude. You've been preordained to go to the NBA since you were in 8th grade.
But is the switch flipped, or is it just a really good situation? No, if you pulled him out of that situation, it wouldn't be the same, you think?
If Wiggins averages 6 points a game for the rest of the playoffs, I would not be surprised. I don't think you have unlocked any switch in him. If I'm a GM from around the NBA, I'm not like, oh, we need to line up to give Andrew Wiggins money.
We got the finals coming up. We're going to find out.
It's hard for a dude who just look, man, give me the guy who's going to give me the guy who's going to go hard over the guy I got him find a way to motivate every day. And like it's telling when you see that like his
it's
numbers.
It's just confusing, right? Because you're saying this, but he's been motivated the last week.
He's been motivated the last week. He's been in the league for 8 fucking years.
No. I know. I get it. So like we got to see if he rolls it. Yeah, I mean, he's in a really good situation. I think the pressure thing is he's definitely a guy where I'm not looking to you for much. You might show up with a lot, and then it's an added bonus. But if I'm looking to you every night to produce at a very high clip offensively, and I'm asking you to play D, you don't have that Jimmy Butler mentality. It's probably not going to happen every night. But I also think he's getting a soft matchup in Dallas right now too, who's tired, beat up, and he gets to So he's been playing really well though. So Boston will be a different story if they play them, or Miami. Either one will be a different story.
He's a hitter. It's just for me, man. Like I wouldn't want. That's got to be frustrating for his teammates. It's got to be frustrating for his coaches because a guy can. It's one thing to have a bad game, but like when you feel a guy is just not into it, that's tough, man. And like that's why I'd be reluctant to give him any type of. I don't want him on my team. I'm good. You guys can have Andrew Wiggins, and you can deal with him scoring 25.
Hall of Famers on there though.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great spot.
You can take him on that. You take him on that.
Shit. You might have 4 with Jordan Poole.
JaVale's in Phoenix. But
JaVale's a Hall of Famer. Post got 3 rings and a gold medal. What else do you want from me? JaVale a Hall of Famer. Fucking if Robert Horry's a Hall of Famer, JaVale McGee's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how it shakes. But yeah, I think it's I'm gonna tell you this.
We gotta get JaVale on the pod.
The yell I let out when Wiggins went up and punched that on Luka the other night.
Ridiculous.
Alyssa was sleeping on the couch. Dog, I screamed right in her face, like on act, because she was like laying in my lap.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he punched it. I was
Ridiculous.
shocked.
It was
Like when
elite.
he loaded up to, you know how you like get that like, hold on, is he gonna try to punch this? And you kind of like sit up a little bit. Well, you see the runway open.
How many
up, right?
guys can do that?
That's a good question.
How many guys can actually do that?
Count them out.
And just decide they're going to do that, right? Like,
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man for sure. He's a freak. Give me the freaks. Zach.
I don't even know if Zach has those legs anymore like that.
Well,
but
Zach pre this year, yeah.
Sure,
I mean, Zach, we don't know what's going on with Zach. Zach could do it. There's always the super springy guys who are able to just take off from anywhere, right? Like that's elite.
Yeah, man,
level of athleticism. That's what I talk about when you say he's always had that. So if you've always had that, like, come on, man. You go to in most games you show up to, you're just killing folks just off being there. You know, outside of NBA games, you show up to a pickup game. Come on, man. When we were 16, show up to a pickup court. Andrew Wiggins was just destroying folks in Canada.
I think that's my favorite like moment in a game. Cause you see him get the pass and you see him pump and go by. This is my favorite part of like a basketball game, I guess, like an individual play, is you see the Red Sea open up and you see it's one guy under the basket between the rim and an athletic guy. And the first thing I'm thinking is like, how is he going to try to finish this? Is he going to lay this up? Is he going to try to, draw a foul? Or is he just going to try to put this on his noggin?
Yeah.
And I kind of he turned the corner. I kind of looked. Like he got a shot, and then I saw him go up, and then now you like almost standing up in the crib, and then he punched it, bro. Oh man,
it's crazy.
Top 2, top 3 dunk of the year, no question.
Yeah, crazy. And so I mean the talent is there, but again, man, imagine you're playing with a guy who does that, and he doesn't do that often, but you know he can.
Is he the Western Conference Finals?
What?
MVP right now?
No.
New award. He's not?
At the what is it? That's the Bob Cousy or whichever one is that?
I thought that was Magic. I think it's Magic.
Is it the Magic? God, if Andrew Wiggins wins a Magic Johnson award, I'm probably out.
I think. Hey, is he not?
He might be. I don't know.
Or is that just one? Is that just one of those things you give to Steph?
Just give that shit to Steph, man. Give Steph his trophies off GP.
Just give it to Steph, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been. Let me see. Let me give you Wiggins' line each game this series.
It's got to be Steph. Steph in this series is 21, 32, 31.
Wiggins played 40 minutes, most on the team last year. He had 27, 11, and 4, and was checking Luka. Then Friday, he's had
19, 16, and 27.
19, 16, 27. Yeah, it's probably. I guess you could just give it to Steph, but he's number 2, ain't no question about it. He's been making an impact for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Anything else you got before we get up out of here? I'm excited for the game tomorrow. Who you got tomorrow? You got Miami. What's the line? Let me get the line for you real quick.
2-2 in South Beach.
2-2 in South Beach Wednesday night, which is Friday night in Miami, so it don't matter anyway.
Wednesday night doesn't.
Line is Boston -1. Money line is -120. Over under. Take a guess.
Boston's laying points on the road.
-1.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, game 4 tonight is Dallas -1. They think Dallas could get one.
Yeah, no. I would take Miami. It's like a seesaw. The series is just back and forth. It's Miami's turn. It's Miami's turn.
So you saying it goes 7 then?
Yeah, I think it goes 7.
Yeah, I'm not with you, man. I got
I
Boston.
know you think it's 6.
I got Boston and I got Boston Friday.
But I do think
I'm gonna be at the game tomorrow, so I'm gonna be rooting for Miami, no question. It's gonna be.
Are you gonna show up in the third quarter like most of the Heat fans do?
No, I'm gonna pull up right at the tip.
That shot is empty until after halftime.
I'm gonna pull up at the tip. The game is at 7. The game's at 8:30, so that's plenty of time to get there on time.
Yeah, man, you can go to Prime 112 before
8:30 East Coast. I'll be able to grab a nice little dinner at 7 o'clock, 6:30, and cruise over And I gotta try to find some white pants, but that's about it.
That's not gonna be hard.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I never been there. I gotta try to do all this stuff, man, before I start a family. And all. That's why I'm trying. That's why I'm going down there in the first place.
Whoa! Where did that come
You know
from?
what I mean? I gotta try to. I gotta get all this shit in, man. I'm running out of time, man.
I never heard you utter the lines before I start a family.
Yeah, I mean, well, before I'm running out of how old? I'm 34.
Pressure
I'm
coming down on me.
I'm 34, man. How many more years I got to go down to South Beach on a Wednesday and catch the game? You know what I'm saying?
Biological clock is ticking.
How many?
Folks said, "Hey, Sean gonna be 45." Like, yeah, it's my newborn right here.
How many more years I got?
Not too many. You're gonna be tired as fuck chasing around a 6-year-old. Fucking yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that gonna hurt shit. Trying to go to baseball games and shit.
Ethan in the comments, don't do it. Save your 100, Ethan. But yeah, man, I gotta.
If Mavs, oh my God, hey Ethan, let me know if you want to do that. I'll give you my email. I'll give you my email address right now. I will take that action, bro. I will 100% take that action. So I'll put the 3,100 in escrow if it makes you feel safe. But yeah, let's do it. That's an easy 100.
So I'm gonna post a few stories. Follow me on IG at Chicago Flow. I'm post a few stories for the game.
I think we got to. We got to shout out Liga Warsaw. It's playing Game 4 of the Polish basketball finals, man. Shout out our guy Danny Polska.
Yeah, man, Danny Polska always
every week
from Poland.
Rocking with us from Poland, man. If we ever make it out to Poland, man, we can come fuck with you in Lewandowski.
Warsaw, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Set it up, dog. Yeah, all right, man. Game 5 tomorrow. That's the game you want to watch. Game 4 tonight. Can the Mavs get one? We'll see. We'll see what Luka does. We'll see if he shows up or is he already back in Slovenia
already.
But we'll see. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. Tell the homies, tell a friend. You already know the deal. No catch up Sports Talk Chicago. I'll see you next week. See you all next week. We out here.